am ready and prepared.
Na Wakenya wamechoka na sisi au Wakenya watatutandika?
The devolution is at a siege.
Sieke.
Jameni bana, wacha fitina.
Me, I don't like lying.
Tunaona mawingu imetanda.
Kuja tukunywe chai uniambie tabu yako, right?
Hii pesa si ya mama yako bana.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the chance to move this motion, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, we agree that we must uphold our African traditional cultures, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when you talk about marriage bill, Mr. Speaker, it takes me way back in history. In the African traditional setup, Mr. Speaker, the responsibility of a man was just to look for the first wife. Mr. Speaker, once a man worked hard and struggled and hustled and managed to bring the first wife home, Mr. Speaker, the man would sit down, relax, like a king and enjoy life, Mr. Speaker. It is the first wife who would go an extra mile, Mr. Speaker. That's why we value all our first wives. She would go out of her way because she knows the needs of a man. She knows what is best for me, Mr. Speaker. She would go and window shop and come home with a very wonderful woman whom she believes is good for me, Mr. Speaker. So my family will not have any problem because all these other women that my first wife will bring, they categorically know that they've come under the first wife, Mr. Speaker. That is why in the African traditional setup, we never used to have divorce, Mr. Speaker. We never used to have family chaos, Mr. Speaker. That is where we want to take our generation, this society back into, Mr. Speaker. Whereas a man who is willing and is capable of supporting many wives, Mr. Speaker, give him freedom to do so, Mr. Speaker. Today, I stand here to move this motion and beg members to support this motion and we pass this marriage bill into law, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Honorable Sungwa, for moving the motion. Honorable, before Kwon, I believe you want to second.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Please do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Unajua, Mr. Speaker, kuna ile census ilifanywa na wakapata ati kuna wanawake wengi na wanaume wako wachache, Mr. Speaker. Sasa sisi tumekuja pamoja ili tuangalie vile tutasaidia wanawake wengine, Mr. Speaker. Na kwa hivyo hata nilikuwa naona inaweza kuwa mzuri tukubalie kuoa wanawake hata kama sapa, kwa sababu census ilikuwa inaonyesha 7:1, Mr. Speaker. As you know, Mr. Speaker, men are like computers. Hiyo vitu nimeona hii wakati wa digital, Mr. Speaker. And you know, computers need an operating system, Mr. Speaker. Sasa unafaa kuleta mapipi ngine sasa hao wakuchaza sapa ndo wanaitwa operating softwares and application. And for that matter, hata mimi naona nikileta Mozilla very soon, Mr. Speaker. Asante sana.
So thank you so much. The motion having been successfully seconded, I think it's now on the floor of the House for discussion. Yes, Honorable Adis.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. We are here to talk about men. How they should add more wives and polygamy. Honestly, these men, are you afraid of your responsibilities? They married us so that they can take responsibility because a man is supposed to be the head of the family. So they're supposed to support their women and their children fully. But if it goes to that, whatever they want, then even as women, we need to to have more husbands. Yes, we have. If that is the case, then as women are supposed to get more husbands.
Order. We have order, honorable members. We have one member talking.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very
much.
Please. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. You know, when it comes to the issue of marriage, we women are very lovely and honest. And you know, when we decide to get married, we get married for real. Yeah, that is why when it comes to the issue of money, I believe that yako ni yetu, lakini yangu ni yangu. So once I get married to you, everything that you have is mine. Yeah, everything that you have. You know, I got married to you. I get married to your money. I get married to your whole being. In short, I own you. So when I leave, I'm supposed to live with everything, if not 3/4. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Wambo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What she has said good thing. If you marry me, I come, we share everything. Everything. Your name, you give my children name. What I don't support is sharing mine. Mine is mine. You marry me because you have something for me to eat. So, I leave mine with my father. I come, you give me, we share yours. And something else, we say you cannot borrow blood from house fry. So I go where there is money. I don't mind if I'm number 2, number 3, or a pesa iko.
Yes, please, Honorable Songwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am delighted, simply delighted, Mr. Speaker, to sit here and listen to Honorable Wambo speak. Mr. Speaker, she is a good example of this marriage bill we're talking about, Mr. Speaker. She has benefited directly, Mr. Speaker. That's why we are having a here today. Mr. Speaker, if had it not been for the fact that they started practicing this bill before it even came to the house here, Mr. Speaker, she would not be here, Mr. Speaker. I love the way she has peacefully, Mr. Speaker, cohabited with her co-wife, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, if we had passed this bill even in the previous house, Mr. Speaker, there would have been no point of calling press conferences to deny some people, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, if we pass this law into bill, Mr. Speaker, several young men will benefit with this bill, Mr. Speaker. A good example is Mheshimiwa Source here, Mr. Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Wambo?
Asante Mheshimiwa. Sasa Mheshimiwa, maneno ya familia tunaleta kwa house. Wacha tuongee ile biashara tuko nayo.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Source.
Nikipatia hiyo point power, umse pia amenitaja kwa hiyo statement yake. Mimi naomba tu ikeje tupate tu dakika 2 tu hapa nje tu, Mr. Speaker, nimalizane naye.
We cannot get that route.
Give it, Mr. Speaker.
So what is it, Honorable Kateno Ojwang?
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this bill, especially where the bill proposes that the child responsibility should be shared among the spouses. Mr. Speaker, I think once you divorce with a woman, there is no need of attaching your salary to support her, Mr. Speaker. I even think that is why they went to Beijing, Mr. Speaker, because they wanted equality, Mr. Speaker. Yes. Mr. Speaker, I beg this House to pass this bill as it is well drafted here, Mr. Speaker. That is it is the responsibility of both spouses to take care of the children, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Mr. Speaker. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for recognizing me in this respected and august house. My wedding was around at 8 a.m. Mr. Speaker. When I around my wife and we walked.
Your wedding was held at 8 a.m. or
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Time.
Okay.
When I around my wife and we walked in down the ISO, holding her very softly as the whole around watches. Nipieni makofi. One thing, Mr. Speaker, I like women. I support women even during my campaigns. But Mr. Speaker, when they come here and they say that we should not have 2 wives, we should not have 3 wives, we should share everything that we have, they are missing the point, Mr. Speaker. So, how do you propose to arrange? Go to her house, knock, talk to her, go at night. In fact, it is called the Nicodemus formula. We cannot share, Mr. Speaker, because we are beating about the bush, Mr. Speaker. I have my honorable member who is experienced, who is an astute, who is very well versed with these things, Mr. Speaker.
Who in particular?
Mr. Speaker, my friend before Kwona. I don't give him some time to tell us how he manages his 7 wives. What the time how he manages to meet them, whether he has a timetable or whether he has put haram in every woman's end, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, Honorable, before Wakone at your will, you are free to share the information with the House.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think I have any problem to share my secrets, Mr. Speaker. Kwa sababu ni kitu iko tu ni kama kitabu, Mr. Speaker, an open book. Mr. Speaker, mimi niko na pipi ambao wanajaza wiki mzima, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, nimesikia mambo na kusema ati tunakawana 50-50 mwanamke tukikosana, Mr. Speaker. Hiyo Mr. Speaker naona kama ni wizi, Mr. Speaker. Naomba hata hiyo mambo ya kuleta mahari tutoe, Mr. Speaker, kwa sababu ni kama kwa kina pipi wanaendelea kutuibia, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, before Kone, maybe I just need a clarification. What did you mean by saying that baby wanajaza wiki? Maybe a few of us did not get that.
Nilimaanisha kuwa niko na pipi wa sapa. Au pipi wa sapa, unapata hata siwezi kushika majina yao, so nimeshika tu huyu ni Jumatatu, Jumanne, Jumatano, Mr. Speaker, na hao wengine wanajichua, Mr. Speaker. Sasa siku moja hata nikipatana na mtoto kwa poma, unajua tena watoto ni wengi. Nikipata mtoto na muuliza, sasa wewe tati, wewe ni wa Jumatatu ama ni Jumanne? Alafu unasikia anasema yeye ni wa Jumanne.
Okay, you can leave at that point. Even the chair was in dilemma, but now I have comprehended your point. Sheds.
I'm a woman. I'm a married woman. I know. At times, once in a while, marriage can become a little boring. You know, just a little, a spite of boredom in your marriage. So what do you need to do? You spice it up. So you give your spouse, just a little time. You know, you heat away from the main. Just once in a while. I'm not saying you do it all the time. No. I'm a decent woman. And after that, make sure if in case you want to divorce, the money goes to the woman 3/4. Why? Because the woman has your children. Most times custody goes to the woman.
Honorable Wambua, you must be having something burning. Please rise on your feet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unajua huyu CMS anataka kutuelezea kitu ambayo hata kwa Biblia haiko. Uliona ile kisa ya nini kule Likoni? Ati wanaume wawili wanakuwa na mwanamke mmoja. Ulizasikia hiyo? Kwa Biblia ngani?
Shindwe shetani.
Huyo mtu alifanya hivyo, naweza mwambia Simon Joe. Yaani aone haya sana. Waone haya sana.
Shemo nini?
Sasa asante Bwana Speaker.
Yes, honorable member. Let's go to honorable source, then we'll go to honorable member for Chabarbar.
Asante sana Mr. Speaker. Kuna kitu mheshimiwa Shebs amesema hapa hivi yenyewe ja make sense. Ati anataka wanawake wapatiwe nafasi ya kukua na wanaume wawili. Mheshimiwa Speaker, unajua hata kwa Biblia imesemekana a woman will leave the father's house aende kwa keja nani? Keja tali yake. Hakuna sasa huo mwanamke akishafika kwa bwana yake akishafika hapo atatoka tena.
Order honorable members. I will give you a chance.
Simtulie. Akishafika hapo hivyo tena atatoka tena kwa keja bwana yake aende kwa keja nyingine. Hiyo haijasemekana mahali pote kwa Biblia. Kwa hivyo Mr. Speaker, hebu waambie watulie bana. Hii story wanasema it makes sense.
Thank you so much. Honorable this, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. How can a man stand up and tell us that we don't have other husbands?
How?
Yet, this is the 21st century. If you're not accepting the changes that are coming in, then you have to live by that.
Speaker.
You have to live by that. And we don't even care. And Mr. Speaker, if before cannot be able to remember the names of his own children, can he even be able to educate them?
True.
As women have everything.
Just try us.
Will be thrown out of the house.
Let them try us, Mr. Speaker. And if we get started, we start getting married to other men, cheating will stop. We will never cheat again. And we will have all the fun that we want. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, honorable
Mr. Speaker amesema sijui 21st century sijui nini.
Wacha
nimwambie kitu moja.
Honorable members.
Mheshimiwa, this Biblia iliandikwa hiyo wakati wa kitambo na inatumika mpaka sasa, na Biblia imesema pia Mungu ndio ule wa kwanza wa kutoka kitambo, wa leo na kesho. Kwa hivyo hizo laws alitoa wakati zitasimama juzi, jana, leo na kesho. So kama amekataa haitaifanyika.
Honorable members, I think honorable members, I have forgotten honorable member for Chebarbar for so long. Please, have your chance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Being in the house today reminds me of this song. It is getting hot in here, so take over, something like that. Mr. Speaker, but I hope as you are generating this, as it's getting hot in here, Mr. Speaker, I hope you are generating more light than heat, Mr. Speaker. But this is what I have to say. Musumeno inagata mbele na nyuma. Inagata mbele, forward and backward, Mr. Speaker. There's another saying which say that goes like this one. You cannot have your music and drink it, Mr. Speaker. If I am the husband, Mr. Speaker, and then I am supposed to take care of all the bills, how come that when you are divorcing, you want half of everything that I have on, Mr. Speaker? Equality can't both ways, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this constitution, we should be very careful because this constitution should not benefit women at the expense of men, Mr. Speaker. Why do I say this, Mr. Speaker? When a woman, this constitution allows a woman to inherit from the father, Mr. Speaker. That is true. Then when she comes and gets married to me, she's also entitled to my property, Mr. Speaker. That is double, Mr. Speaker. It is your man, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, if it's very easy for a woman, rather your wife take half of your property, Mr. Speaker, then that's using constitutional means to promote robbery without violence. To wind up, Mr. Speaker, in my culture, traditionally, I cannot eat the same table with my wife. She cooks the food, she brings, she goes back, Mr. Speaker. If you come to visit me, Mujumbe, and you get my wife, then when you go back, when they ask you who did you get at Mujumbe's house, you say, and there was no one. It was just children, Mr. Speaker. Therefore,
okay,
therefore, Mr. Speaker, I would like to support this motion, but with appropriate amendments to that clause requiring sharing of half of the property.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Kirauni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me tell you, when you want to prepare and we want to prepare honey, it travels from different jars. It tastes many flowers. A group of flowers make something called honey, and that's why we call women honey. So we need to taste from different flowers to know, Mr. Speaker. I hope my friend should attest to that, because as I know, she travels a lot.
What kind of traveling is that? What kind of traveling is that? Is it travel or travel? I am not blonde. I am not blonde. One or two?
Yes, Honorable Kirauni.
Mr. Speaker, I cannot say that I've traveled with her, but when I asked her, Mr. Speaker, she told me, mind your own business. Which are those business I'm minding, Mr. Speaker?
You should apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Sos.
Mr. Speaker, Kenya Mheshimiwa Shebs amesema it does not make sense about, after 6 months after living with a woman, now she becomes your wife. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, mimi sasa, okay, nimeishi na mbochi wangu 2 years. Sasa amekuwa wife yangu, Mr. Speaker. Hiyo kitu tolewe hapo hivyo, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you so much. What is that, Honorable before Kuone?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, nimesikia wanatata akisema ati pia kama sisi tunataka tuanze kuoa wanawake wengi zaidi, pia waruhusiwe waende olewe, Mr. Speaker, na wanaume zaidi ya wawili, Mr. Speaker. Haiwezekani, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, unajua ya kwamba ukikuwa na lock alafu inafunguliwa na zaidi ya vifunguo 3, Mr. Speaker, hiyo inamaanisha hiyo kivuli ni mbaya, Mr. Speaker. Na Mr. Speaker, kama uko na kifungu moja na inaweza kufungua kafuri 12, Mr. Speaker, hiyo inaitwa master key na sisi ni master key, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, what is it, Honorable Songwa?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, other advantages of this marriage bill when it is passed into law, Mr. Speaker, is that to tame prostitution in this country, Mr. Speaker, allow polygamy, Mr. Speaker. To drastically cut the age of unwanted pregnancies and abortions in this country, Mr. Speaker, allow polygamy. Mr. Speaker, to accelerate the perpetual advancement of single motherhood in this country, Mr. Speaker, allow polygamy. And Mr. Speaker, to liberate this sovereign republic from the sugar mommy menace, Mr. Speaker, allow polygamy.
Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you so much. What is it, Honorable Katiano Juan?
Mr. Speaker, today I'm learning so much in this house. Mr. Speaker, I think this idea of women coming to marriage with the intent of inheriting or sharing your resources is making our women lazy, Mr. Speaker. I think that's the reason why even have to make positions for them, Mr. Speaker, in the house. Women will be better, Mr. Speaker. I think women should take responsibility and take equal responsibility as men, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
In that spirit of women being hard workers, I worked hard to get my husband. I got married because I don't want to die broke. I am talking on behalf of all the Nairobi women. Yeah? This is not personal. This is not personal. Yeah? So when I talk about when you come out here and say women are lazy, yeah, because they want your wealth, no, they're actually doing you a favor by getting that money from you. Yeah? I mean, really, if you get a beautiful
in what way?
Yeah? In every way possible, Mr. Speaker, sir. And you know that. You're a man, you're married, you know that. You can attest to that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
What is it, Honorable Crown, as we come towards the end?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a senior member of this house, I happen to jet in and jet on out, Mr. Speaker. Last week, I had a privilege to be invited in the country of King Muswati of Swaziland, whereby he invited me for a wedding. And he was wedding every year. He owns a wedding, Mr. Speaker. Girls come there, Mr. Speaker, for showcasing, Mr. Speaker. All of them are virgins, Mr. Speaker. What I saw, Mr. Speaker, Akiamungu, I cannot tell you, Mr. Speaker. I could not withstand.
Can you laugh with some manners?
They show their things, Mr. Speaker. They dance around King Muswati wearing nothing, Mr. Speaker. You know what happened? My eyes tuned. I felt something moving inside me, Mr. Speaker. I said, oh, Rondi, why don't you create me like King Muswati to enjoy all these privileges, Mr. Speaker? I liked it. It was in me. It was not in you, Mr. Speaker. I liked it, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to propose that we form a committee, parliamentary committee, so that we can sponsor them to go and see. Because, Mr. Speaker, they were fighting for one man when they knew their other wives, Mr. Speaker. What were they fighting for? What were they lacking that they found it in King Muswati? Oh, my Lord, my Lord, my. I wish it was me, Mr. Speaker. So, I'm asking if this parliamentary committee can be funded by someone so that we can go there to run what they have done in their constitution, to come with it here, entrench it, and enshrine in our constitution, so that we shall be running that wedding in every constitution. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Source?
Mheshimiwa Speaker, ningependa kusema hata kama gava yezi kusponsor trip, mimi nitasponsor kila mheshimiwa.
Order, honorable member. Order, honorable member. Order.
Mr. Speaker, weka order ndani ya house. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, oh. Mr. Speaker, sir. Order kwenye house. Mr. Speaker, maswali ya upumbavu hatutaki. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, ndani ya house. Mr. Speaker.